Let the meltdown begin. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. We've got a triple threat program put together for you this evening. The New York badass Phil Baroni will join us. We'll get caught up on Phil's rehab after that gruesome ankle injury suffered in Thailand last May. The Fight Network's John Ramdeen will step up and in studio with us, and we'll run through a couple of mixed martial art topics. Joey Odessa will step up and we'll crunch some Bellator. All that and more on tonight's MMA Meltdown. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. We've got a great program lined up tonight. You know why I know it's going to be great? Because we've got the New York badass on the program. One of the old school pioneers of mixed martial arts. And it's actually it's pretty interesting as the UFC celebrating their 20th anniversary card in November in Las Vegas, Nevada. Phil Baroni fought on the first card in which the Fertitas actually purchased the UFC, in which it was UFC 30. The New York badass Phil Baroni joins us on MMA Meltdown. Phil, it's always a pleasure. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good.
So, you know, Phil, do I make you feel old when I say that, going back to UFC 30?
Nah, man. You know, I'm still in the ring, man. I'm still going strong. You know, once I'm healthy, I'll be back going strong again. You know, speaking of that night, I was the first fight. I was the first prelim fight. So the Zuffa era began with the New York badass, and I'm still gonna make another comeback. So, you know, I don't feel that bad about it.
You know, it's amazing you say that, because I was looking at the fight card and just looking at the fighters. Literally thousands of fighters have come and gone, Phil, and here you are, man. You're still standing.
Well, right now my ankle is pretty messed up, so I'm hobbling. But
you're standing with a crutch.
But you know, I'm still in it.
Yeah, you're standing, you know, with some crutches. Yet we had you on right after the injury last time, so it's been about four and a half, 5 months now. How are you feeling? How's the rehab coming along, man?
No, really, I'm feeling good, man. I'm way ahead of schedule. I mean, I'm way ahead of schedule. I can't believe it. And, you know, I'm looking to get back in there soon. I'm chomping at the bit. You know, they ain't ready to release me yet to start full training, but, you know, I'm thinking about sneaking in the gym now, at least hitting the bags and stuff.
Really? And, you know, a couple of months ago, last time we spoke, you were sort of in a dark place. You know, you were kind of, you know, mentally worn out and disappointed about what happened. You sound like, you know, 100% charged right now, man.
Yeah, well, you know, can't be down forever, man. Can't be down forever. What am I going to do? You know, crawl in a hole and die? You just got to deal with it, roll with the punches, man.
So, you know, it was kind of a freak accident what happened to you. You know, so when you do come back, are you going to go back there? Are you going to fight ONE FC again? You know, you had a deal with Bellator that was reportedly on the table right before this freaking happened, so it was horrible timing. You know, where are you hoping on fighting? In America, or are you going to go back to Asia?
We'll see. You know, whatever has you know the closest fight card. I'm not sure if Bellator is still interested. You know, I'm not sure who's interested. I mean, I'm going to set some feelers out there when I'm ready to go, and whoever takes the bait, I'll be in there ready to go.
What's been the toughest part about not being able to fight?
Oh, not being able to train, man. You know, the toughest part was being on crutches for like 4 months. That was pretty bad. You know, both my legs shrunk up, my ass shrunk up. I look like I don't know, man. I have an Ethiopian body on the bottom. I'm not too happy about it, but you know,
why didn't you
it's frustrating, man. I was getting ready for a title shot, and then you know, here today gone. You know, then gone. You know, but you know, deal with it. And they come back.
You should have gotten one of those little scooters, man. You know, I see people like, you know, zipping around in the casinos in Vegas and stuff. You know, like
I had one. I had one, man. I had one.
You did.
Put one knee on it, and you know, I'd scoot all around. had my dog pulling on my leash. I wiped out once pretty bad, so and I'm not doing that much anymore. But yeah, I had one of those scooters.
You did. I'd love to see you in a casino, like beeping. Hey, get out of the way. Trying to get to the blackjack table. All right, out of the way, jackass. So you know, you lost weight. You couldn't be in the gym, and you know, Phil, I thought of you the other night. I was on Middle Easy, one of my favorite MMA websites, and I'm on MiddleEasy.com, and they post a video of you paintballing, and I didn't realize it was like from a year ago. Actually, I thought it was recent, and it was great stuff in which the kid calls you fat, and you start ripping into the kid. You're like, look at you. You're not even 8 years old, and you're already fat. And
yeah. No, I ended up knowing that kid and knowing the father. It was just part of the video, man. And you know, I went and coached him at one of his wrestle meets in Vegas and stuff. You know, he's a good kid and he's a friend of mine, man. It was just so funny.
Yeah, no, I know. And you know, and he seems like he's a tough little kid too, man. You know, he was hanging with you. He was coming right back, man.
I mean, hey, he's a good little wrestler. He plays in the nationals for that age group. He's a tough little wrestler.
You know, Phil, you know, you're old school. We had Ken Shamrock on last week. You know, he's you know, sort of uniting with Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz. Rampage is on a rampage right now, sort of bitching about the state of the industry. You know, you've been around a long time. From where you've seen it come to from where it is right now. You know, what do you think about their gripes, and you know, what do you think about the state of the game right now?
I mean, to be honest, I wish I was 24 years old again and back in the UFC, and I have another 15 more years to fight, dude. I'd be rich. You know, the state of the game it's a lot better. It's on Fox Sports. I mean, guys complain about money. I mean, they all get upset about how much you're getting paid. But I never signed a contract to have a fight and didn't know what I was getting paid. So if you agree to what you get a fight for, then what? I don't understand what the complaint is so much. I mean, should guys be getting paid more? Everybody should be getting paid more. You should be getting paid more. You know, Joey Odessa should be getting paid more. We all should be getting paid more. So, you know, I think everybody in the world has good gripes about how much you're getting paid.
That's a good way of putting it, actually. You know, poor bastards working at McDonald's should be getting paid more. You're right.
He should be getting paid more. You know, he's getting zips from frying all the French fries on his face. He should be getting paid more too.
What did you get paid for that? The first Zuffa UFC fight. Do you remember?
2 and 2. That was the you know, getting the UFC. That's what you got paid. 2 and 2.
Wow, 2 and 2, huh? And so it's amazing. They really haven't come that far then. You know, like in the years.
Yeah, but, you know, to get in there, it hasn't come that far. You know, first time fights. So you know, I did some boxing and stuff too. You know, you get paid $100 a round. You know, until you make a name for yourself. So you know, there's a lot more mid-tier guys in the UFC making a lot more money, making a living than there are boxers. So I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. You got to bring something to the table. You got to be a draw. You got to do, you know, what your performance is. You got to be exciting. You got to talk. You got to talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. I mean, I've always done those things, and I understand the game. But you can't complain if you have nothing to say and your fights are boring and you get released and you get cut. I mean, who wants to see that shit? You know, when those fights are on, I'm in the toilet or I'm going outside for a smoke. I ain't watching those fights anyway. I don't want to see those guys anyway.
Yeah, is that, you know, we've been talking about this a lot recently, in which, you know, the modern fighters, you know, they might be great athletes, but they fight pretty conservatively. It's not really a fight. It's more of a sport now, which, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's legitimized, but it really is just you know, there's less fighters doing it now, more athletes, I guess, the way of putting it.
I got to agree with that, man. I definitely agree with that. Back in the day, it was more of a fight, you know, and we were also less skilled, so we had to go out there and fight hard. I mean, we had less skills. I mean, the sports evolved so much, and yeah, there are a lot better athletes in there now than there were back in the day. And these guys, you know, they know how to win fights, you know, they know how to win fights in not the most exciting fashion. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a fan of it. You know, back in the day, it was more about guys getting in there with something to prove, and it also wasn't a lot of money on the line. There wasn't life-changing money, so you take more risks. And there weren't as many of us, so there wasn't as many guys to take our place. Everyone's a fighter now. The fighters are a dime a dozen. You know, UFC 30. You know, after UFC 30, UFC 34, I was walking around. You know, I'd be walking around at Hard Rock or something. The few people that would recognize me, you know, you were an oddity. Not everyone's a fighter, you know. Everyone's jiu-jitsu black belt. Fighters aren't nothing special anymore. But back in the day, they were. And you weren't as worried about losing your job because there wasn't that many guys to take your place.
you knew that the phone was going to ring again, right? Even after the loss. It's interesting that you just said that, because it's something that I see as well, in which it used to be a big deal. You know, I'm in the UFC, or I got signed to the UFC. Now with the Facebook and the prelim fights, you don't even know these guys that are in the UFC. They're in, they're out. You know, does it mean less right now?
You're 100% right. Hey, man, when I was in the UFC, the stands were packed for the prelims, man. People just wanted to see the fights. You know, nowadays, people are shuffling, you know, at the co-main event, ready to watch the main event. It's more like boxing. No one's even watching the undercard fights anymore. And there's some good fights on the undercard. You know, UFC always pretty much stacks, you know, all of the promotions try and stack the cards. But, you know, it's just not what it was. I mean, it's not. There are so many shows and so many fights. People just want to see the main events and the main attraction now. It's not as special as it once was, but you know, it's more mainstream and more accepted. You know, more people know who John Jones was. You know, or even you know, GSP. Way more people know who GSP was than, you know, back in the good old days, than people knew who Royce Gracie or you mentioned before, Ken Shamrock were.
The New York badass, Phil Baroni, with us. So, Phil, before we let you go, you say you're almost getting ready to get back in the gym. You're in Vegas right now. You're going to stay in Vegas, or are you going to go back to the Bay Area? I know you like training with those guys over at AKA. You know, what's the future hold for you?
I'm not sure, man. I'm just worried about getting healthy, and then I think I'm going to go bounce around a couple of gyms, you know, even check out One Kick Nick's gym, you know, back in Vegas, and just see some gyms and see where I feel comfortable. I'm worried about, you know, being able to train right now before I'm worried about where I'm going to train.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You know, I know a lot of promoters watch the show, and you guys know that the New York badass Phil Baroni always brings it. And you know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder when he comes back after the freak injury that happened last May. Phil, I always love having you on the show, man. I wish we had more time, but we wish you the best of luck getting healthy, and I look forward to seeing you fight again, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, and take it easy, man. Have a good day.
There's the New York badass with us, Phil Baroni. We got John Ramdeen of the Fight Network. We got Joey Bagels, a.k.a. Joey Odessa, set to join us from Costa Rica. We'll crunch the numbers, take a look at this week's Bellator card, a couple of selections as well, and we got some videos of the week. All that and more. MMA Meltdown continues. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. I am Gabriel Morency, sitting alongside the Fight Network's very own John Ramdeen. John, it's always a pleasure having you in studio. How you doing, man?
I'm rocking and rolling. Thank you always for having me.
Well, you're a very busy man, John. You got a lot going on. I see you online, and I'm watching events, and I'm like, holy crap! Ramdeen's out of the country right now. So you're racking up the frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, doing my best. Actually, we're leaving this week to go to Russia for the World Combat Games, so there's lots of busy stuff ahead.
That's amazing, going to Russia.
Going to Russia.
I've never been to Russia before. A lot of our videos of the week are courtesy of Russia, and Russia is kind of like the cool country right now, isn't it? Everyone loves Putin, and Russians are just so damn tough and insane and crazy.
Yeah, well, hopefully there'll be a viral video that's created when we go to the World Combat Games.
No, I don't know if you want that, actually, because if you're part of a viral video in Russia...
I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it means like you're part of like a road rage incident. They got those dash cams in Russia. You don't want to be part of a viral video.
Fedor's going to be at this event, so maybe Fedor punches somebody out.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to go to an event in Brazil or in Russia, but I always, to be honest, I'm scared I'm going to end up getting arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
that was my concern.
Yeah, no, I think you'll be all right. So you got that. You're also doing K1 as well, and toe to toe, which I enjoy this.
Okay.
As somebody that's interviewed fighters for a long time now, let's be honest. There's only so much you can talk about. So how did camp go?
Yeah.
How's the ground? I understand you're working on the ground game, etc. It gets old fast. I've always been a fan of getting to know the fighters behind the scenes and their personalities a little bit. Their interest and, sort of get inside a fighter's mind, which can actually help you understand someone as an athlete as well. And, I've enjoyed that aspect. Interviewing these people, it must be refreshing not to just have to ask the pre-fight type of questions that you're boxed in with.
Well, what's funny is I started because obviously I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, so I wanted to ask those questions. I wanted tell me about your training, who you're working with, all these things, and I realized, they don't want to talk about this stuff. That's the last thing on their mind. They don't give two shits about mixed martial arts. As a matter of fact, it was with you. You had Gray Maynard in studio with you before, and I was ready to ask him a bunch of MMA questions, and you started talking to him about football, and he was engaged. He's like, oh, yeah, this guy's a real sports guy. So he started spitting that stuff out, and I was like, oh, maybe I should take that approach, go down a completely different route, and it seemed to work out.
It's funny. I've been with fighters before and with other people have asked fighters. So, can I ask you about this camp? And it sort of kills the vibe in the room almost. Like, yeah, what about it? The greatest thing ever, too, is the media. And, I've been criticized in the past for not getting analytical about it enough. But so many fighters tell me, off the record, I don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
It's a freaking
crystal
fight.
Ball.
Yeah, and they all say that, the same thing, which is kind of comical. Well, you know what? I'm just going to try not to get punched in the face, really. Which we sort of forget that fighters are just normal dudes. Yeah. They're fighting, but some guys, they're not all Chris Lieben.
Yeah,
they're not all BJ Penn. They don't all want to be licking blood and stuff like that. And some of them don't want to get punched in the face.
Would you? Of course. Some of these guys...
Not for $6,000.
Not for $6,000. And you have to remember, a lot of these guys get into martial arts. Like when George St. Pierre started, there was no idea of, I'm going to be a world champion. Maybe he thought he'd be a world champion in karate, but I'm sure he didn't plan on being a superstar, an icon of a sport. He got into it for self-defense. So a lot of these guys, that's the reason. They don't want to be punched in the face. They don't want to be bullied. So they use...
And at the same point in time, though,
Exactly.
John, at the same point in time, not that today's stuff is boring, but it's not the same,
It's not the same
as when we used to just have psychopaths that wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Guys that were fighters, so to speak. Like a guy, Phil Baroni.
Yeah.
Classic example. Didn't care about the record and stuff like that.
Gary Goodrich.
Yeah, Gary Goodrich. Guys that'll show up and fight.
That's it.
You call them, hey, I'm there. We're going to show up and fight. Now it's just sort of...
it's competition now. That's what they...
It's a competition, and it's sort of been sterilized, isn't it? In which, all right, the takedown at the end of the round, little boring ground and pound per se, and so many up-and-coming fighters, because that's the formula to win a fight in the UFC. But it's not really entertainment anymore. And you're a big fan of a lot of stuff that the mainstream doesn't watch, such as Glory and, Cage Fury. Whatever's going on, there's a good fight. You like the international stuff as well.
Yeah, I love it all. I mean, especially Glory 11 going down on Saturday. It's phenomenal. When you look at what Glory's doing, it's basically what K1 did back in the day. And this is essentially what the casual fans want to see. These big, jacked up guys kicking each other in the head. Somebody falls down. It's as simple as that. That's what people want to watch.
Now, Spike TV was going to have some, basically, it wasn't bare knuckle, but it was pretty damn close to bare knuckle fighting. They're like, old school, the way it was meant to be. Yeah, it didn't really stick. I don't know, maybe sponsors didn't want to be involved with it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know why it didn't stick. Now, speaking of the UFC, you're a fan of a lot of these old school guys, the Shoguns and, the Pride fighters, Wanderlei Silva being one of them. He's taken on Chael Sonnen. There's been a lot of smack talk going back and forth. There's been a lot of negative feedback about Silva approaching Sonnen at Mr. Olympia in Las Vegas with a camera crew. He's shooting, real wrestling style videos for this fight. And, I've read articles by the MMA elite saying it's bad for the sport and Silva looks bad doing this. And when I see this, I'm thinking, you know what? Just shut up. We're lucky that Silva's still fighting and entertaining us. And a lot of people, it would be tacky. But with Silva, I think it works.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, Wanderlei Silva is just one of these enigmatic characters in mixed martial arts. And right now, he can do no wrong because people absolutely love him. They love his fighting style. They love that he struggles with the English language. And the fact that he's still relevant. This is a guy that not that long ago went out and knocked out Kung Lee, was very, very competitive in his fight with Rich Franklin. The only thing about this fight with the Chael that I don't like is stylistically, it just... what we all want from Wanderlei Silva is for him to take the center of the cage, drop his weight, and just start slugging. Whether he falls or his opponent falls, that's irrelevant. He always delivers the type of entertainment we all have come to expect. But in a fight with Chael Sonnen is too smart. He is not going to stand in the center of the cage and go toe-to-toe with Wanderlei Silva. He's going to do what he did in this fight, like he did with Shogun, take this fight down to the ground immediately and try to submit Wanderlei.
Now, I'm not a Chael Sonnen fan. I've bet against him in the past, but at the same point in time, one thing when betting on MMA, you can't bet with your heart, and it's tough. And, especially, over the years when you interview certain fighters over and over, like you said, like Gray Maynard. I've become friends with Gray Maynard. So, it's tough. Like when he fought TJ Grant, I'm thinking, this is tough. And I got a weird feeling about this. But I'm kind of locked in, and you end up losing.
Kind of locked in.
Yeah, you're kind of locked in. And you end up losing a couple of bucks. Same with Pat Healy against Khabib, the Russian dude. Pat Healy's so cool. He's been on the show a million times. Such a nice guy. I'm like, I got to take Pat Healy here. But I didn't do that with Shogun. Even though I wanted Shogun to win, I didn't do that. This time around, I don't know. I think that Silva can catch him, John.
Yeah.
He's got to catch him. It's the only way.
He's got to catch him.
It's the only way. It sounds kind of stereotypical and prototypical to say this, but you're right. Sonnen can take him down, and Silva's going to be screwed once he is taken down. He's got to catch him, and I think that he can.
Maybe. I mean, the thing about it is Chael is just so good in the wrestling department that he really makes his takedowns seem effortless. Like he sweeps you down with almost minimal effort. So Wanderlei Silva, sure, he's going to come into this fight in great shape. I'm sure he's going to be working on his takedown defense with top-level guys, but is that enough? I just don't think so. The guy's gone through the ringer so many times, been through so many battles, been through so many training camps. I just think stylistically, I just don't like the matchup. I would rather seen Wanderlei take on, you name it, Vitor Belfort, Yushin Okami.
It was a jerk move by Chael Sonnen, calling him a midget, and he baited him into it, and eventually Silva was going to take the
Yeah, of course.
Eventually, he reeled him in, and it's amazing. He talks smack, and he really handpicks he handpicked the opponent, really.
That's all he has to do. Talk enough smack, create enough interest, and the UFC has no choice because you've created a storyline. And what happens for the UFC, they make more money if there's storylines because more people are tuning in.
All right, so John Ramdeen going to Russia, good stuff. You also got toe-to-toe.
Yep.
Who is the most interesting person or surprising guest that you've had delving into the personal matters on toe-to-toe?
One of the guys I have to say is the new UFC middleweight champion, Chris Weidman, just down to earth, very intellectual. Went to school for the mind, so this guy knows how to play psychological games. So Chris Weidman surprised me a lot.
A very confident man, and with good reason. I'm looking forward to that rematch. Anderson Silva says he's going to knock out his opponent this time, as opposed to what happened last time around. Stay safe in Russia.
Do my best.
Yeah, you do that, John. John Ramdeen, Fight Network. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. For all the information about the Fight Network, check out the website, fightnetwork.com. Don't forget, we do MMA Meltdown Radio Tuesday nights on SiriusXM, channel 167, presented by the Fight Network. And Corey Erdman talks boxing at 9 o'clock Eastern. Always has great guests on the program. Speaking of great guests, thanks to Phil Baroni and John Ramdeen for joining us. Joey Odessa will join us in a couple of moments' time, but let's get to our videos of the week. And we've got some pretty cool videos this week. Let's start with a bizarre knockout video. All right, so this guy gets knocked out. Nothing too spectacular about it thus far. And all right, he's sort of down for the count. All right, he's done. He's done, but sort of like the chicken with his head cut off, deal in which the body starts acting strange. Oh, I'm not really sure like what the purpose of that was. Like what, he's obviously delirious. Like, because I gotta be honest, at first I'm thinking, I can't show this video. This guy just got knocked out. Poor bastard. All right, this is the ref's fault here. Like, what's he doing? All right, thinks he won the fight. No, he didn't win the fight. Go to your corner. It's a whole new definition of going to your corner. All right, some strange stuff. There was audio there, but it was some like weird, I don't know, weird music going on there. So we decided to kill the audio on that video. All right, people, it's the holidays. Christmas is around the corner, and I'm sure you're very excited. You're probably as excited about the holidays as these Santa Clauses in New York City are. Ho, 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 bitch.
This is awesome.
Yes, this is awesome. Look at the dude honking. Oh! And remember, people, these are the guys that people are putting their children on in your local shopping mall. All right. We haven't had a nice stupid video like that on the program in a little while. I enjoyed that one. Now, speaking of stupid videos, this one's pretty stupid, and it's actually quite disturbing for various reasons. It could be disturbing because, I don't know, maybe Hulk Hogan was an idol of yours growing up. And it could be disturbing because Hulk Hogan's wearing a freaking thong.
Brother.
You know what? Considering some of Hulk Hogan's video work in the past, maybe that wasn't as bad as it actually could have been. All right, we had the New York badass Phil Baroni on the program earlier. Phil's one of the most entertaining and funnier guys in all of mixed martial arts, or sports for that matter, as this video will attest to.
Phil Baroni, and I'm gonna sell you a f***ing car. If you want to get a girl, you don't need no class. You need to get a car that's real badass. If you got no job and you got no cash, see New York Phil and get here fast. Come on down to New York Phil's and check out my badass cars. And nothing says badass like in 88, I rock Z. You worried about the paint? How about I grab you in the back of the head and slam your head against this thing 5 times? What? You want a Carfax report? I got your Carfax right here. No credit. Bad credit. Even bankruptcies. I'm slashing prices so low, people think I'm crazy. Everybody knows Phil Baroni loves the kids. Bring them down this weekend. I'll set them up with their very own My Little Baroni Pony. And if you're worried about buying a car from me, don't. Just remember this little jingle. It won't be a phony. If it comes from Baroni. We done with this yet, man? Is that another last take or what?
I got your Carfax right here. MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. Joey Odessa will join us. It's everybody's favorite time of the week. It's bagel time. We sent it to Costa Rica, the premier combat sport odds maker in the business. Joey Odessa joins us. Joey, it's always a pleasure. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening tonight, G?
We're doing all right, Joey. We're doing all right. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you got an opportunity to see the program in Costa Rica as we're now posting the show on YouTube. And we got a lot of comments. Not all of them positive, but hey, Joey, as long as they're talking, it's a good thing. And we've always known that basically 99.9% of people that comment on YouTube are generally douchebags. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, because really, I don't know if there's like a lower form than the YouTube comment page.
You know, I didn't read a lot of the comments, but I look at it this way. If they wrote something about it, they listened to it, so it had an effect on them. What they do with the information or what they do with what we said, who cares?
Well, you know what? I wanted to check it out because, of the Ken Shamrock interview, in which, and you've taken the side, we've talked about this in the past, Joey, you've taken the side, of the company, so to speak, and, said, you know what, it is what it is, and fighters, you don't like it when the fighters are bitching and complaining about the money. When Brenneman said, oh, I can't pay my rent, you didn't like that type of stuff. You don't like when fighters bring this stuff publicly, but it seems like most fans don't really care about the plight of the fighters either, ultimately, Joey. Seems like it's really like 75-25, in which people just sort of say, you know what, the fighters know what they were getting themselves into.
Well, people are looking for reasons to complain, and I'm, again, worry about yourself. When if you're focused about what everybody else is making, it's all part of that rearview mirror business. You're looking behind you, you're looking around you. Worry about your own wallet, and your own wallet will get bigger. These guys with their complaining, look, I work tough jobs. Everybody's had tough jobs. If you don't like the line of work you're in, or you're not that good at it, where you get paid enough, then find another job. I don't know what to say. But, the trumpeting and the anti-big, companies and stuff, these guys bought this company for $1 million, and not to beat a dead horse, they ran it, $40 million in the debt. Dana had to be ready to jump off a bridge doing that to his, best friends if that was the actual case. I know if I ran, something that I had a lot of passion into the ground for, 40 times the investment, I would have wanted to, jump off a bridge. And they came out of it. So I think Dana's got a right to criticize whoever he wants, within the fight game, because he did it. They did it. Doesn't matter if he did it with somebody else's money. Doesn't matter whose money he did it with. Their product worked. They got there, and now there's a lot of sour grapes. Some guys just accept it and move on. Some guys were ahead of their time. God, recently we'll talk about like Phil Baroni, Evan Tanner. Those guys battled it out. They had some great fights. But they were before their time. Pat Miletich, another guy that, that comes off sometimes as disgruntled. Here's a guy that was before his time, and it's unfortunate, but, same thing with these MMA prices, with betting. Back in the mid-2000s when, the UFC brought in people to talk about the odds and the Vegas experts and all that stuff, I could sit and complain and moan and say, geez, I should have been there, I should have been there. Who cares? I am where I'm at now. and you got to move forward. You know, you keep looking in the past like these guys, and you know, you just end up going nowhere. You're stagnant. But that's my speech.
No rear view mirrors for Joey Odessa, and you know, we'll take a quick look in a rear view mirror here for a moment, because we got Bellator coming up. Due to the time of the taping, we'll skip over the fight night. Next week, we'll take a look at the JDS Kane card in Houston, which is a quality card, actually. See a lot of nice betting opportunities on that card. As far as Bellator is concerned, Joey, you know, I'm actually looking forward to the pay-per-view because I'm a big Michael Chandler fan, and I think it's going to be a great fight with Eddie Alvarez. But these Friday night Bellator cards are getting tough to bet on. You talk about it, Joey. Bad cards equal bad beats. We saw it last week with LeVar Johnson. I mean, hell, I think LeVar Johnson stood upright longer after he got shot than he did in a Bellator cage the other night. And we've seen this. I don't know what it is, Joey. Every one of these fighters that leaves the UFC, gets cut or whatnot, they always lose their first fight, even if they're big favorites. You know, John Fitch, King Mo, Diego Nunes loses, LeVar Johnson loses. Seems like Congo's the only one that actually has ever won a fight in his first fight outside the UFC.
In a weight class that arguably the light heavyweight division champ could win, the heavyweight division, the weakest division in Bellator. I mean, heavyweights aren't, abundant. There's not a ton of great ones out there. We had this discussion last week about like the top 5, top 10. It's really, outside of the top 5 or 6, there's just a whole bunch of guys that are capable on any given Sunday. But as far as this Bellator card, I tell you, there's all... And, people are taking a shot with what I call the live dogs that won't win. Last week, Johnson, he did go down, but in the long haul, I mean, these guys are favorites for a reason. In the UFC, they have somebody in there doing their job because they're analyzing the talent and they're giving these guys their pink slips and they're going on. And some of them, aren't having the success that they, in these other organizations. Whereas the Strikeforce guys moved into the UFC and just kind of, they went on their runs. But in the end, it'll all even out. I mean, I think it all evens out in the end. The good beats, the bad beats, the good matchups, the bad matchups. But, these guys are going over to Bellator, in my opinion, instead of, say, World Series of Fighting or something because of, for what I think would be obvious company reasons, because once you go over to Bellator, it's kind of tough to get back to the UFC.
Yeah, not impossible, as we saw with Jay Hiron. Not impossible, but you're right. So as far as this card is concerned, this Friday, Joey, a lot of large numbers here. People swinging for the fences with the underdog. It looks like it's a favorite night, though, doesn't it?
Well, it's in Kansas, first off, and I could make a bad Teddy Atlas like tornado analogy or something and say that's all that's missing from a wipeout on this card. But Rickles is fighting at home against his J.J. Ambrose. Rickles is supposed to beat him. I mean, Ambrose hasn't fought in how long? Rickles is at home. Rickles is going to beat him. Does he belong an 8-1 favorite? Value guys would say no. I say yes because he's going to win the fight. Going right down the list, Justin Wilcox. Yeah, I mean, I opened him up about 270, 275. I see some support coming in for the favorite there because it's a layable number. Whereas, the Pitbull against Patricio against Fabricio, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last names. You're talking about a 10-1 favorite here. It's not supposed to lose to this kid. And then in the other bout, it's tough with these big guys, but the Russian guy, Zayat, nobody expected him to lose his last bout, and he did. And he's in against Aaron Rosa, who has had limited success. But does he belong an 8-1 favorite? Probably high. 10-1 favorite, probably a little bit high. Actually, it's a lot high, especially if he loses and somebody gets caught speeding laying that price. But it's tough because if you put it too low, lay all these guys up, and they're going to end up sweeping or 3 out of 4 or something. And you got to keep them high enough. I always say back them off the favorite and keep yourself from getting hurt on the dog. Just generate a number that's going to create two-way action. And all these guys are 8-1. The whole card is 8-1 except for Wilcox.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Even for the parlay players, if they parlay 4 8-1s, 10-1s together, you're still not really getting any value back for your bet.
And he just used the word value too. So why even, you know what I mean? Value. Why?
No, it was a bad word.
Because you got to figure they're going to be jacked up by that. Right now, all the early stuff is all dog money, because nobody's running out right now to lay 11,000 to win 1,000 on an 11-1 favorite in Bellator. Nobody with sense.
No. Although it has been done with King Mo before, Joey.
I fell victim to it, and I love King Mo, and King Mo got caught.
No, I know.
No.
And you know what? That's why the pay-per-view of Bellator, even though I think it's kind of ridiculous, it's a pay-per-view, there are some intriguing matchups on that card. Now, you said numbers last week for Mark Pavlich's MFC 38 card behind enemy lines. We had Mark in studio with us a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people are saying it was the best MFC card ever, actually. Joey, how was the action for it?
It got some action. It wasn't overwhelming, amounts of action, but, people, again, we say it all the time, if people can watch it, they'll bet it. If they can bet it, they'll watch it. It's like the NFL Sunday Ticket. Nobody cares what's going on. And, well, my Jets are winning. Nobody used to care what was going on in New York until now. But, like two teams or two guys that they normally wouldn't watch, if they can bet on it, they'll watch it, and vice versa. So one hand washes the other. I figured, what the heck? He had 3 championship bouts. Pavlich has been, it was his 38th event up there, and he does seem to have it right. I got to hand it to him. I mean, we saw Prindle in the Bellator. It was for sure. Congo got caught one right in the groin. I mean, right down to the last bout. You knew it was coming. The notorious Bellator foul. It happens at every single event. I just don't get it. That must be like it's a given. It's like the ring bell. You know what I mean? Like the ring card girls. You're guaranteed to get a nut shot at Bellator.
Yeah, you know what? You're guaranteed to get a nut shot in a Czech Congo fight. And I was just amazed that Congo didn't cheap shot him back right away. Because that's what he does. It's in every Congo fight. He gets hit in the nuts, and then he hits you in the nuts accidentally. And then you move on. I don't know if, I think it was Big John McCarthy, if John gave a little warning, hey, I know I've watched you fight before. I know what you're going to do. But you know what? I'm happy for Congo. It'll be interesting to see if Congo, you think Congo will beat Vinicius when he fights him after, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, Congo, I'd like to see Congo have some success over there. I mean, he seemed like when he left the UFC, humble, limited fighter, no question, but, his most, I guess, his claim to fame would probably be the one shot that he landed on Kane that, as the myth went on and as the story went on, first he rocked him, then he dropped him, then he this, then he that. Well, no, he hit him, he connected, and it was a learning experience for Kane against the striker.
He staggered him, exactly. Yeah. As people say, he dropped Kane and he rocked him. He staggered him. He hit him, and he staggered him. But no, you're right.
Good. He hit him damn good.
No, I've always been a Congo fan as well. The guy shows up, and he's a professional. I hope, I wish him some success as well. Kane and JDS, we got to wrap it up, Joey, but Kane and JDS around the corner. I'm looking forward to that. Kane's a pretty big favorite this time around.
Yeah, it's in Texas. It doesn't matter really where it's at unless it was in Brazil. And the way Kane dominated him last time, I think Junior's got to stop him to beat him, and I don't think that's going to happen. He did once before, so we know that Kane can be stopped, but, hindsight will be, 100%. I don't see that happening. Actually, for a weekend of no MMA, there's a great boxing card on. We got Bradley and Marquez coming up this weekend, TV bout. I think, I don't think. I know that Marquez is money. I really believe that. Low price, $1.35, $1.40. That there's $1.80s out there.
Well, at least C.J. Ross won't be there to save Bradley this time.
Well, interesting. They had there's a new way they're selecting the judges. They're kind of like laying them out for the promoters and the managers or side. I don't know exactly how it is, but they have some input now as to who the judges will be for this fight. They had a choice, like an A list and a B list, and I'm not for certain exactly how Kaiser oversaw it or whoever oversaw the proceedings, but there was a meeting held about the judges, and it's coming off the Klitschko fight. I'll tell you, this Klitschko fight number this past weekend dropped so hard, And Klitschko went out there and annihilated him against Povetkin and won every round and knocked him down 3 times in like the 6th round, where it arguably could have been stopped. I mean, he just mauled him. You know, it was an ugly fight, but the line dropped so far, and it's the same thing again. People are so, you know, it's not what you know, and I said this last week, it's what you don't know. And now everybody's so hung up on conspiracy theories with judges that they're like, oh, well, you got to bet the dog, they're going to rob him, they're going to. People just fall into these patterns. And I don't see these patterns. I tell you what, you know, even with the Brazil card that's going on right now and whatnot, I mean, you really can't say, oh, well, all the Canadians always win in Canada, all the Brazilians always win in Brazil. In the end, you know, it all evens out. We just don't have a big enough study of it.
No,
it
you're
just
right.
started. I mean,
It does
even out in the end is kind of odd because the sports books would be getting beat, or it's already incorporated into the number.
And now we're seeing that as well in Brazil, in which it's commonplace now, in which the American or the visiting fighter is getting a decision in Brazil, and you know, we're seeing it time and time again. Hell, the Brazilians even, you know, I forget which fight it was, in which the Brazilian commentators, you know, agreed with what people thought. Oh, it was the Davis Machida fight, in which the Brazilian guys thought that Davis won the fight. But we got to wrap it up here, Joey. And for people on these Wednesday night fight night cards, you want the preview, tune into SiriusXM on Tuesday nights before the Wednesday card on MMA Meltdown Radio. And we break down all the fights, including the prelims. Always good, Joey. Thanks to all of our guests for joining us this evening. The New York badass, Phil Baroni, great guy, and we look forward to his return. Thanks to John Ramdeen. Hope he has a safe trip to Russia. Joey Odessa, always a pleasure. For all of my MMA picks, log on to sportsragetv.com. We post picks for every fight card and on a daily basis. Bellator this Friday included. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.